and there goes Peter Flanner already overtaking Andrew Korstecki up the hill. Whoa, in the back there is a slide off. I hope everyone's okay. No, they're not okay. There is some damage in the back of the field. There are people getting through it. No, they are not. That's AJ going through. There goes Eric Rodriguez side by side with Charles Lee. And that Goodwrench livery just ahead of him. Might try to make a move down the inside. Here he goes. And look at Jacob Simmons overtakes two of them down the main straight, down the inside on Will Coffey, and he makes that position stick, and he gets ahead. The inside line he goes, he snaps in there, and he makes it stick. Might have spoken too soon, but he's got the defensive line going to the next corner. And he's kept it on. We still don't know anyone else is going to have a better overcut. Whoa, and there goes Peter Flanner through. And look at that. Jacob Simmons is also making the move. Andrew Kirk loses 2 positions. And is this the moment he goes for? It is a start-straight finish. And there he goes, side by side. He's going to make it work. Steve McAllister not defending. And there he goes. Looks like he's going to try to go side by side into this next braking zone and make it stick. There he goes. And we've seen him on the outs of a battle. Nowhere to go. Drivers ahead of him. And Eric Rodriguez holding that position behind. And look at that. Tyler Finley goes through. And now he's going to be battling out Zachary Bright for position. Oh, no, he slots back in. And we are 2 by 2. Patrick Gannon trying to take the lead of the race already, and he goes for it. The top already, and there it was. The move is done. But P14, Eddie Layton in the Mercedes. Oh! Tyler Anderson going for the inside move. Ooh. Plenty of space is given, though. And that allows Tyler Anderson to go through. And Chad Nobles is in through. No, they are still side by side going into the next corner. And wow, they are very close, but still given enough room. But I don't think Angel is done just yet. They are going side by side into the next corner. Anderson wasn't done yet. Anderson retaking that position. And now look at that. Mathis, LePage is getting by. And they are now side by side. Is Mathis going to have this? No, and look at that. Eddie Layton is about to overtake Mathis for this position. This is a heated battle here in the teens here. That's, very close margins, but Eddie Layton overtakes Mathis. Looks like he's going to have to be defending against Timothy Bray. And Timothy Bray on the outside. They still both have room. He goes way off. And Timothy Bray and Peter Flanner are battling it out. And Timothy Bray gets ahead on an outlap as well. Just before the braking zone. Peter Flanner was about half a second. Oh no! Oh no! Move into turn 2. Nope, he's slotted right next to him. Side by side they go. Nicholas Matcham gives him the space, and he goes through. Tyler Finley making the move. So Noah's going to have to go the long way around. Is he going to be able to maintain it? They go side by side, and oh, that's perfect. He gets a great exit there from Noah, or from Andrew Korstecki. They're still side by side as it looks out. No, he's not side by side anymore. And just there in the background, you can see, oh, they are still side by side. The camera plays tricks, and there he goes. Finally gets that car right in front, and P. Welcome, everybody, to the Broken Ring Racing League. presented by ANSE3D. Here we are at round 8 at Road Atlanta. Just ending free practice as we're about to get underway with qualifying on board of Brandon Redfro, which may switch up a bit. Got about 3 minutes left to go, but I wanted to show some interesting results so far in practice. Peter Flanders at the top of the timing charts with a 1:17.74, separated by a hundredths of a second, almost. Diego Ear. I'm just going to say it's Ear. It's not Array, it's Diego Ear, until he tells me otherwise. But similarly, with just 200ths of a second, Jacob Simmons is in P3. And then you have Matt Shack, who is right now P1 in the championship, but could easily be dethroned by Jacob Simmons. So this battle really comes down to who's going to win out in this. If Matt Shack is not prepared to take P1, or say ahead of Jacob Simmons, by a good margin, it's possible he could lose out the championship right here. Oh, wait, no. Am I looking at that wrong? It's Elliot Burton, who is, he's battling it out for. I thought that was Jacob Simmons. Peter Flanner. Elliot Burton is in P1 with 2,100 points. 2,104 total points. Matt Shack has 2013. Peter Flanner is in P3. He's in P1 right now on the board. But in the championship pro standings, he has 1,652 points. So, you know, and Elliot Burton doesn't look to be on the roster right now. And that is a shame. We won't get to see a battle for P1 at the end. Whoa, as Justin F. Scott goes clearly into the barrier there. Tire wall. And then down in the AM standings, we have Andrew Korostecki with 1201 over Zachary Bryant in P2, the serial offenders team, with 1109. Eric Rodriguez, Andrew Korostecki's teammate of Prosciutto Punch Racing, he's got 1037 or 57. I think that's a 37. So still high. Oh, and Justin F. Scott in P4, free agent, he's got 1029 points. The margins for P1 to P4 in the AM class to who's going to take home that trophy is very, very slim. Whoever puts it into P1 in the AM standings is going to be the winner. And then it's just a shakeup from there. So Andrew Korostecki is going to have to stay ahead of a driver. Zachary Bryant, Eric Rodriguez, and Justin F. Scott. That's going to be very tough indeed, as we will jump towards the front of this pack. We got Justin F. Scott taking some clean air on his outlap here at Road Atlanta. And like always, we have 10 minutes of qualifying happening here. Chad Noble still in the pits. Craig Carroll still in the pits. Gary Schilling also in the pit lane. We got 24 drivers on the grid. It should be a very exciting race, as qualifying is just underway. And Justin F. Scott is going to be the first driver to take us as we go on board. It looks like he has Chad Noble's 1.9 in front. I hope that's not going to mess with his ability to maneuver out of the way there, because he is on an outlap and he is going to have to make himself scarce there, out of the way. And he does. But anytime you have traffic like that when you're on your push lap, it's never gonna be great for you. I don't know how much of a crunch that might, or how much time you might have lost to that, but ultimately you still have to make some change to your lap, and it's not going to be for the better. But he's going to probably just push right after this, so we'll see. And he crosses the line for P1 for just barely. We'll see if Peter Flanner did set a time, but it wasn't valid. So we're going to have a shakeup on the board momentarily. We'll look at Matt Shack here, who's about to cross the line. He takes P1 with a 1:17.9. Joshua Grosso is in P2 with Diego Ear in P3. Trey Mistack down to P4. Eric Rodriguez in P5. Justin F. Scott is in 6. Charles Whedon is in 7. Zachary Bryant in 8. And we have Chris Chitterling goes to P4. Zachary Bryant P10. Tyler Finley to 7. Oh, the shakeup is really occurring right now as Jacob Simmons goes to P2. We'll go on board with Peter Flanner, who's going to make an upset in this order. No, it's going to be... He's predicted to do a 1:18.3, but if he can find any time in the final few corners to really... And he does... This could put him in the top spot, but just barely. And Peter Flanner goes to P4. Andrew Lewis is in P5. Will Coffey is in... Oh, Diego. Whoa. Diego just lighting up the charts. Does a 1:17.7. That's a full 10th up on Matt Shack. Let's go see if Andrew Korostecki crossed the line at some point. Went to P7. He's ahead of his rivals. We have Tyler Finley in P10. Chris Lambeth in P12. Noah Hodgkinson in 13. Parker Humes in P19. Nicholas Matcham in 18. Zachary Bryant in 17. And Steve McAllister goes to P18. Gains a little bit of time. Matt Shack is 2/10 up on his Delta right now. I don't know if that's going to translate. He's predicted to do a 1:17.5 right now, which will be a lot faster than his rivals. He's P2 right now. He only needs to gain 0.129 to overtake Diego for P1. And I think he's done it. He has done it. Matt Shack goes to P1. Trey Mistack goes to P3 across the line. Where is Peter Flanner? He is stopped on track. And with basically 6 minutes left to go. Oh, 3 minutes left. 4 minutes left to go. I was reading that wrong. Peter Flanner looks like he was trying to find himself a gap because now he has a 5-second gap ahead of him and a 10-second behind him. So trying to get some free air, some clean air, I should say. Free. It's always been free. Colin Luckers to P12. Craig Carroll to P7. What a break across the line. Lovely move. And there is Noah Hodgkinson in the background. Or no, that was Jake. I think that was Joshua Grosso. No. That was Noah Hodgkinson who bended in the wall right there. And Tyler Finley to P10. Justin F. Scott climbs the leaderboard here. He goes to P12. He's still a couple positions shy from Andrew Korostecki. as we have Trey Mistek now about to cross the line again. He's 4/10 up, but I don't think it's enough there. Now, he is predicted to do a 118. He's got to find around 3/10 if he wants to get P1 again. Jacob Simmons is on an out lap. Joshua Grosso is not on an out lap, but he set a 118 even. It's going to be difficult for him to do anything right now. He's got to get 4/10 out of this next lap that he's doing. And right now, he's not really on a push lap. It might look like one, but I think he's just building for the lap that he's about to do. As Peter Flanner on board is on a push lap. He's got Parker Humes ahead of him by almost just a half a second there. I don't know if he's going to get in his way. And he doesn't. That's very good to do it on a straight like that. He's about 7/10 up, but I don't even know what the average of that is. I don't think that's really accurate here. I don't think he's actually 7/10 up right now. I think he's got to find a gap of half a second. And as it stands, he's predicted to do a 118, and he really needs to get... Matt Scheck has a 117.6 on the board. And qualifying is over for Peter Flanner. We got a couple minutes left to go. He crossed the line, and he has not improved, and I don't think he's going to try to improve. Chris Chittling crosses the line to go P4. There's that Colin Luckhurst crossing the line to go P12 at some point. Will Coffey to P15. Chris Lambert to 16. Charles Whedon to 17. Eric Rodriguez there in 18. Brandon Renfro crosses the line and goes to P19. Jacob Simmons crosses the line, takes a valid lap in, and he goes to P3, overtaking Trey Mistak. They're at 117.9. Separated by not a tenth, not a hundredth, but a thousandth of a second. 9,000ths of a second between these two. And to put that in perspective, look at that gap between Trey Mistak and Jacob Simmons. What an absolute monster of a lap for Jacob Simmons. That is probably the closest we have on the board in terms of drivers. Eric Rodriguez overtakes Chris Lambert and Charles Whedon for P16. And Justin F. Scott crosses the line to overtake a couple drivers to take P12. And on board with Craig Carroll, who's definitely putting in a really nice lap here so far in the first sector. Oh! And it was nice until it wasn't, folks. I've got nothing. Andrew Korsecki is in P10. It's about predicted to do roughly what he did last lap, as his best lap was 118.2. He's predicting to do another 118.2. If he could even inch out 1/10 across the line, he's going to take a couple positions, but it doesn't look like he's going to. And I think that's P10 for him. Justin F. Scott, one of the only drivers on the grid that is still out there. And his qualifying is ending. And he crosses the line and he goes to P6. Justin F. Scott for the championship, the AM championship. And then there's Parker Humes who crosses the line. He stays P4 24. But the battle for the AM championship for season 4 of the GT3 series is down to Andrew Korsecki and Justin F. Scott. If Andrew Korsecki can't overtake Justin on the track, we're looking at that That's going to be the P1 right there. That's going to be the battle for P1 in the AM standings. Matt Shack does not have the driver he was going to be facing for P1 in the standings, but he has Peter Flanner, who's down 400 points to him. I don't think Peter Flanner is going to be able to make up that gap, and it would basically mean that Matt Shack gets like DNFs from this race, but also Peter Flanner has to keep it on pole, and even then, I don't even think the points would add up to him making that difference. So I think Matt Shack's going to run away with the P1 in the Pro Standings Championship. Got about 30 seconds. Just waiting another minute before all the drivers grid up. And the race order is Matt Shack, Diego Ear, Joshua Grosso, Jacob Simmons, Trey Mistak in P5, Justin F. Scott in 6, Chris Cheerling in 7, Andrew Lewis in 8, Peter Flanner in 9, Craig Carroll in 10, Andrew Gorsek in 11, Tyler Finley in 12, Colin Luckhurst in 13, Noah Hodgkinson in 14, Will Coffey in 15, Chris Lambeth in 16, Eric Rodriguez in 17, Charles Whedon in 18, Brandon Renfro in 19, Zachary Bryan in 20, Steve McAllister in 21, Chad Nobles in 22, Nicholas Matcham in 23, Parker Humes in 24, and Gary Schilling in 25. 25 drivers on the grid, and we are about to go underway. I don't believe there's a single driver not in the order. Yep, looks like we're about ready, as Diego's not started the car, but there he goes. And here we go already. Off the line, Matt Shack gets a strong run. There's Joshua Grosso maybe trying to look to make a move, but he doesn't. And so far, it is clean, as we have drivers going side by side into the S's. That's Will Coffey and Tyler Finley. And Tyler Finley gets ahead. And it has been clean so far. No change up in the order just yet. As we have Joshua Grosso just 1/10 off of Diego Ear, with Matt Shack already building a slight gap off the line, and he's keeping it. Jacob Simmons is trying to reel in P3. You can see them in the white BMW as Joshua Grosso goes to the inside. Into the braking zone he goes, and he keeps it on track in a move done for Joshua Grosso for P2 already on lap 1 at Road Atlanta. But is Diego going to let that stand? We'll take a look to see. It looks like he does for now. And more views from the grid. Everyone looking just like a nice S as Jacob Simmons down overtakes Diego. Just cleanly on the straight. Must have had a little bit of a wobble coming out of that. The S's. We got Peter Flanner here, who's sitting in P8. In practice, was the fastest man on track, but in the race right now, he's sitting in P8. He's got a 3/10 gap to Justin F. Scott, just ahead of him. And earlier, Chad Nobles, early in the lap, oh, it just gets squirrely. And not bad. Good recovery. That's Chad Nobles again, having gone to the pit lane. Oh, no. Oh, no. We're going to have to pull this back as Andrew Korstecki. Not sure what's going on here, but he's letting a lot of drivers by. Oh, and there goes Brendan Renfro off to the side. And it doesn't make sense, and he clips Brendan Renfro. Oh, folks, that's rough. That's seemingly unaware of how that occurred, but Andrew Korstecki definitely losing time, and there goes Craig Carroll in the blue Porsche, or the blue Porsche in the head, with Eric Rodriguez in the blue and green Porsche in the middle, and the teal Porsche behind of Noah Hoskinson. That's a lot of the same color, you might say, but they were very much neck and neck going through the final corner, onto the penultimate corner. And now they've just backed off ever so slightly. Wonder what happened there. Andrew Korstecki is down into P18, facing Zachary Bryant. Justin F. Scott is in P7 right now, so the battle for the championship in the AM class is almost about decided here if something's don't change. Justin F. Scott has a good lead here. Peter Flanders backed off by a full 1.1 seconds. Chris Chitterling ahead. And and here goes Tyler Finley in the red Ferrari, and Will Coffey going through. Will Coffey was P12 and is now P11. He's in the yellow and black BMW. And not much has changed here. And we have actually Chris Chitterling really putting the pressure on Trey Mistack. 3/10 difference between these two. The top 6 drivers have not changed. Actually, I would say, even going to P10. Peter Flanner has been still P8. Andrew Lewis is in P9 behind. And Colin Lucker's kind of rounding out the top 10, all kind of still together in a similar pace. But can Chris Chitterling make a move on Trey Mistack in that white and gold and black Liquid Death livery? And we have our first retirement of Chad Nobles. That's unfortunate that happened. And Andrew Korstecki is in the pit lane already. Only 6 laps. He's going down the order. Quite not sure what happened for him in this race, but the man that was sitting in the standings in P1 is going to be demoted off the podium by the end of this race. Of the championship standings. It's the 3 drivers he was battling on track were his own teammate of Eric Rodriguez, Justin F. Scott, and Zachary Bryant, who's ahead of Eric Rodriguez. So quite possibly Eric Rodriguez takes the the standings. Takes P1. That's Noah Hoskinson just behind Eric Rodriguez, separated by 0.2. And into the first corner they go, and it looked like Chris Chitterling almost had him move down, but he didn't. And they're about to go side by side, and oh! Gorstecki getting it right here involved. And, oh, that's going to be rough. He is a lap down. And he makes it difficult for Chris Chitterling. And that just builds the gap there. Trey Mistak and Chris Chitterling are now separated by 1.5 seconds. 1.4. It's going down just so slightly. But when a driver, Andrew Gorstecki, on his outlap, comes through and gets right there sandwiched between the two drivers, and has really cost Chris Chitterling a lot. Like, and that's racing. It's fair, and it's rough, but I think Trey Mistak just got a reprieve for a little bit of more of this race, not having that driver so close. Draft Punk Racing. So far, it's been pretty good. Not a whole lot of incidents. Looks like one driver just had an incident on their own. And then, bizarrely, Andrew Gorstecki had something happen to him. He was going really slow. And that collected Brandon Renfro. But Brandon Renfro is actually not that bad off of it. He's still sitting P18. He was a little bit higher in the order, but overall, he's still got Charles Whedon and Zachary Bryan ahead of him. And that's Steve McAllister sitting there in P19 with Nicholas Matcham just behind, separated by 0.3. Is Nicholas Matcham going to try to make a move anytime soon? We go on board to see whether or not he's going to press on. And not just yet from him. And here's Jacob Simmons on board with the BMW. As he goes for the inside, is he going to be able to take it? He does. And there goes Joshua Grosso to P3 with Diego here in the back there. Probably maybe not too close to make anything happen there. But as far as these two battles, that's going to allow him to be reeled in to those two. And we have Colin Luckhurst right behind Andrew Lewis in that black and red Motor City BMW. I think that's a Spicy Chimpkin guy. Don't Urban Dictionary that word. But on board, he's looking a little really strong through the first part of that sector, and then just kind of lost a little bit of time through the S's. But he's gaining it back here on this straight. You can already see it. Through those corners, he gets a good exit, and in the straight, he's really just going to reel in Andrew Lewis again. Peter Flanner also separated by not too much there from the driver ahead of him. But is Peter Flanner making a move there? There goes Justin F. Scott and Peter Flanner down the inside line. And he makes it work. And look at Andrew Lewis maybe trying to make something happen as well. And Peter Flanner overtakes for P7. Justin F. Scott losing another position to Andrew Lewis. It is Colin Luckhurst going to try to make a move here. When it rains, it pours for some of these drivers when they lose a position. They lose 2 or 3. And quite possibly Justin F. Scott's going to lose another one. But no, I think he's going to keep this. Don't think Colin Luckhurst is thinking about making a move. It's definitely not through the S's. And there goes Andrew Lewis. Has a bit of a shake-up on the exit. And this could give Justin F. Scott all the confidence to go for it. But he doesn't. He just sits. Not much you could do there. Wasn't quite close enough to make a move. But Colin Luckhurst is now right there on the tail end of Justin F. Scott. He's closed the gap. And look at that. Justin was went to the middle of the track there. Maybe trying to be a little bit defensive, but slots back in. Doesn't have to worry too much. And in the background, we have Noah Hodgkinson and Tyler Finley. Tyler Finley in the red Ferrari just ahead. And Noah Hodgkinson battling two Porsches. Porsche on Porsche violence here is the... Eric Rodriguez is the black and green and blue Porsche ahead of the teal of Noah Hodgkinson. And then there's Craig Carroll, one of the league owners, holding a good pace. He's definitely got stronger pace right now than his rival had behind him. Last lap, or his best lap was a 1:18.7. Tyler Finney's was 1:18.8. About 1.5 difference between the two, as Noah Hodgkinson is going alongside Eric Rodriguez on the outside, trying to make the move before they even get to the braking zone. And that is good defense by Eric Rodriguez. Oh, and Noah goes off. He's going to be losing a position, but is he going to lose another position? Charles Whedon, is he going through? He's got it on exit. Charles Whedon picks up a position to go to P15. Noah's move was pretty strong. I thought he had it there, and just a little loose in the braking zone. And only 1/10 separates these two drivers, even through the S's on the exit. How is it going to look for him? Is Noah going to go for it? Definitely not here. Oh. Does it look like he got really close to that rear end of the Ferrari, the yellow Ferrari? And through the S's, they had 1/10 separating these two. He was just neck and neck with him. But now, on the back straight, it's 4/10. Definitely had a slight bad exit there, which kind of cost him. And here's Will Coffey on Justin F. Scott into the first corner they go. Will Coffey makes the move stick. He's in the BMW. And he goes through, but Justin F. Scott not really having to worry about this race driver. That P next to Will Coffey names means that he's in the Pro class. And Justin F. Scott's in the AM class for the different championships. Right now, Justin F. Scott is leading that championship in the AM class. The driver he has to worry about is Eric Rodriguez, who's sitting a couple cars behind him in P14. So as long as he keeps this pace, it's going to be just fine for him. As Craig Carroll's looks to be kind of splitting that gap away from Tyler Finley by even a couple of tenths, is now pushing closer towards a bit of a shake up there. And just briefly, I'm going to look at a replay here. It says Patrick Humes. Oh. The incident's no more. I guess the person has to be here and then for it to show up. So we're back live. That did not pan out the way I thought it was going to pan out. So to pop back on board. Noah Hodgkinson, who's not closing the gap just yet. He's only, actually, he's closed it slightly. He's now 2/10 instead of 4/10 back off of Charles Whedon. And good defense by Charles as they go into this side-by-side. Noah gets it on the exit. Is Charles going to fight it into the next corner, into the penultimate corner? He's just going to be able to slot behind. Oh, it looks like he's going to try to make a move. Nope, just sticking his neck out there, but doesn't make a... It doesn't make the move. Ooh, really ate that that curb there. That's really gonna cost him. As he's now down a couple tenths there. And we're just gonna pull that back just slightly. Andrew Lewis barely misses the barrier there, and there goes Colin Luckhurst through, making a move. And it's going to have to live with it as Colin Luckhurst goes to P8. It's odd. It looks like Craig Carroll passed Justin F. Scott. And now Tyler Finley's right there in the mix. That doesn't bode well for Justin, as Tyler Finley is between him and a rival of Eric Rodriguez for the championship. The battle could actually be decided by the pits. We're 16 laps into this 33.5 lap race. And Andrew Lewis trying to reel in Colin Luckhurst. Music City Racing, not Motor City Racing. And Joshua Grosso is already going into the pit lane. So we are going to be seeing the shakeup in the order. That is different. Joshua Grosso is P3. Diego inherits that just now. Jacob Simmons out there in the front at P2 with Matt Shack just separated by half a second. Not much has happened with these two drivers, although Jacob Simmons has been reeling in Matt Shack because Matt Shack had a good, healthy lead before the battle occurred where he took P2 from Joshua Grosso. So, be interesting to see how this all goes out. Is Joshua Grosso goes down to P18, but he's got some pretty clean air. A good in-lap will help him. And there goes Colin Luckhurst. Going through. And that's Andrew Korstekki. Doesn't make it difficult for either one of those drivers. But Andrew Lewis may have lost maybe a tenth off of that. And we have the changing of the guard as Trey Mistek has also gone into the pit lane. And Will Coffey's also gone in the pit lane. Nicholas Matcham had a bit of ooh, not a full-on crash, but definitely not great. He's able to back it back out on track, and he's out there. He's P23 at the moment. Went into the pits, service time already. It'll be interesting to see how Matt Shack responds, as well as Jacob Simmons. They are now closer than ever, separated by 4/10. It's gained a 10th there. And is he going to go in the pit lane anytime soon? He is not. Just F. Scott and Tyler Finley battling it out. And that's Justin slotting back in. Not a true defense there for him. And he goes into the pit lane. Now, what does Eric Rodriguez do? Eric stays out. Noah goes in. Charles Whedon stays out. Joshua Grasso is going to get promoted a couple positions. He's already P15. The real shakeup is occurring right now with a lot of these pit stops. On board with Jacob Simmons, who's sitting P2. Matt Shack right in front of him in that black Porsche. Can't say for certain what's going to come out of the overcut, undercut strategy here. But it looks like Matt Shack's going to take that defensive line. And that is what you would see in a strong defense there. Keeping it together. Great exit. What is he going to do? He stays out. And so does Jacob. And right now, the race control, that everything looks just like it's just a lot of people on their out laps, people on their in laps. I can't tell who's passing who at the moment. Tyler Finley's in the pit lane. We're going to see a lot more changing. Joshua Grosso is in P9 at the moment. He was P3. Diego also still out there, has not gone in. Is Matt Shack going to finally make the plunge? He goes in. Jacob goes in. Diego goes in. Peter Flanner and Chris Chitterling have... I'm not sure if they've made the move. They have not made the move. Everyone from the top P1 to P8 has not made the move. But they are doing it now. And Matt finally gets to his spot. Diego as well. Where does that leave Joshua Grasso? He is rounding the final corner. The penultimate corner. And is he going to take back P3? Is he going to take P2? That's the real question there. As Jacob Simmons is ready to exit. Joshua Grasso now is already P5 on exit. Diego goes through and takes P4. Oh! What just happened? Steve McAllister on an outlap just gets rear-ended there. That's Matt Shack ahead of him. And Steve, who was in 19, just Jacob Simmons, and just they collide. Yikes. And so there you have it, folks. We have Matt Shack P2, Diego P3, Joshua Grosso is P4. Definitely made a capitalized on that moment between Steve and Jacob there. Yikes. And Joshua Grosso, oh no, sorry, and Zachary Bryant going down the order as he's finally taken that, one of the few drivers that hasn't pit. But the order is back and restored. Diego has a 2-second gap to Matt Shack. And Joshua Grosso just behind in P3, Jacob Simmons in P4. Order changing ever so slightly from the start of this race. Diego was P4, now P2. Oh. And Colin Luckhurst sitting in P8 with Chris Schitterling, or said, oh, sorry, that was looking at the wrong one. That's Peter Flanner, who has not made much change. He was P8, he's down to P6. Trey Mistak just behind. Oh, and there's no Joshua Grosso and Jacob Simmons battling it. Jacob Simmons goes through. Retake P3. Is Joshua Grosso going to try to make a move into turn 1? He does not. And Tyler Finley, an impressive race by Tyler Finley so far. He started P12. He's only up 2 positions, but he's been going forward and backwards in the lineup and has made 2 positions up, but a lot of overtakes in that time. He's gone down a couple, and now he's right back up there. But what a great result for him. And Craig Carroll, who's sitting in P11, with Justin F. Scott in P12, and Noah Hodgkinson in P13. Eric Rodriguez is back there in P14. Still put 2 positions separate these 2 drivers, and I don't think it's going to go towards Eric Rodriguez for the moment. We have 10 laps left to go. And Trey Mistak and Chris Chitterling have kind of been next to each other all race. Not much has changed. Peter Flanner is now closer than ever, though. And look at the different line that both these drivers took. Going up the hill there. And that is Nicholas Matcham off to the side there. And the, I think the Captain Frosted Flakes livery. He's let them all by. I think that's the Frosted Flakes livery. Yeah, Tony the Tiger. I wasn't wrong on that one. And what's kind of an interesting move for Trey Mistak to kind of dive down to the fence there. And here he goes, Chris Schitterling closer than ever. Really trying to make something happen, maybe on the exit here. Does he try to poke something down the inside line? Doesn't. And on board with Chris Schitterling, who's been separated by not just 1/10 for a couple laps, but the majority of this race, Trey Mistak and Chris Schitterling have been glued to each other. no one's made a mistake out of the two drivers. Even after the pit, they went into the pit lane for the mandatory pit stop, they come out and they're still right next to each other on pace. It's staggering feat there by both drivers to also have like the awareness to not, you know, take out your fellow driver, and by any means, intentional or unintentional. They're showing a lot of racecraft here, with Peter Flanner just ahead, showing a good defense, because he's kept it ahead. Peter Flanner did a 1:18.8. He was only 5 hundredths of a second faster than Trey Mistack on the last lap, and now Trey Mistack is 2 tenths faster than Peter Flanner. We would see that, though, coming from times as he is in the lead of a little train of cars here. And this is P5, 6, and 7. And you can see the slight strength of that Mercedes and Peter Flanner there through Sector 1 and 2. But in Sector 3, kind of loses it all of it on this back straight to Trey Mistack and Chris Schitterling, who kind of reel him back in. And then he has to spend all of Sector 1 and 2 to get them off his back ever so slightly. And back on board with Chris Schitterling, looking at what is a really nice looking livery there of the Liquid Death. Like their saying goes, murder your thirst, not the cars. Because you don't want to intentionally do that ever. I think that's an instant ban from a server as well. But it's been a while since I've looked at the rules. And like I said, you can see it right there. Peter Flanner has 7 tenths difference to Chris Schitterling. Trey Mistack, 1 tenth, 2 tenths. But then when you go on board with Trey Mistack, it's about half a second. But this difference between the two is just... It just comes right back. They get this all right there. So we have Craig Carroll and Tyler Finley battling. Craig Carroll is P11. Looks like he's trying to make a move on Tyler Finley. Just kind of open the door for Justin F. Scott here. Is he going to try to make something happen? Going to the inside. Going to try to outbrake him. Craig Carroll gives him plenty of room and overtakes. That's Justin F. Scott and car number 69 there. Makes the move. I think a bigger difference in the gaps right now than previously. Flip it on to Jacob Simmons, who's, not sure what's happened, but Joshua Grasso is 3.5 seconds back. Andrew Lewis, who was in the top 10, also that blue lap traffic. Diego not looking to give up the position of P2 to Jacob Simmons. It's unfortunate for Joshua Grasso, and something must have happened there. Actually, don't see any data related to Joshua Grosso having an off-track crash incident. He just somehow lost 3 seconds to these drivers. Bit odd. Is this the moment Diego's looking, or sorry, Jacob Simmons is looking for off of, but he doesn't go for it. He just kind of stays slotted in behind Diego. Maybe he's going to try to find a different area on the track to make this pass. Oh, while we're at it, just going to pull back this. How did that happen? Looking at how close Trey Mistak gets to Peter Flanner. That's Chris Chitterling and Trey Mistak for P6 and 7. It's just a sprint to that corner. And Chris Chitterling makes the move. And does he make it again off of Peter Flanner? In the span of 2 corners, Chris Chitterling is about to overtake 2 drivers. So, oh, no, he slots back in. And he does not make the move. And Peter Flanner's never been closer than ever. And whoa, look at that. That's Andrew Lewis having to get out of the way, which might have kind of not sure if that cost Jacob Simmons the move, but the other car was already there. He didn't dart to that inside to make the move. He's just gonna have to wait for another lap. Try that again. And Chris Chitterling just 3/10 away from Peter Flanner, and 4/10 is Trey Mistak behind. Losing out 1 position there. And that looked to be a really strong exit that possibly was going to be able to take it on pace against Peter Flanner, but he didn't. Now you can see this. These 3 have kind of changed in hands. Chris Chitterling's putting pressure on Peter Flanner, pressure that he didn't previously have. And once again, into nothing changes hands there as Chris Chitterling might be looking to make a move. He actually really isn't reeling in Peter Flanner, which is surprising to say the least. On that back straight, he was 3/10 on exit and still not making any progress on the straight itself. And on board with Chris Chitterling, he's sitting. Just got a couple laps left to go. And is Chris Chitterling going to try to make a move? Still, again, there's 3/10 separating these drivers on exit. And into the straight, he gets 2/10. He's reeling him in finally. But is it enough going into the braking zone? And answering my own question, it isn't. Not at this time. But Jacob Simmons, down into turn 1, is separated by 1/10, 2/10 from Diego. Joshua Grasso's still not able to make any inroads to that 3.7 second gap to Jacob Simmons. And here it is. Is this the battle for P2? Diego goes a little defensive. Jacob Simmons looks to unsettle the rear just slightly on entry. In the moment where they finally start to reel each other in here, though, he's so far back. 3/10, 2/10. But the braking zone's coming up, and he's not going to make the move. Not now. Is Chris Chitterling going to finally make it, though? Goes to the inside. Is he going to make it? They're going to go side by side into this. And Peter Flanner, good defense. They're still going side by side. He's got the in... Oh. Still making it happen. It looks like Chris Chitterling's going to have this. Maybe again, they go through the next corner. And Chris Chitterling goes ahead to P5. Trey Mistak looking to make a move as well. Unable to do so. What a strong performance by Chris Chitterling and Peter Flanner. Great side-by-side through all of those corners. Up ahead, we got Matt Shack. Not sure if this is... for the race to be over? Quite possibly. That could have been the white flag. We'll see in a second. That is the checkered flag, folks. And that is Matt Shack winning the Pro Championship right there. And also P1, Diego P2, Jacob Simmons P3, Joshua Grosso is P4, Chris Chitterling now has a 1.7 second gap. And across the line, he goes to take P5. Peter Flanner, P6, Trey Mistak is P7, Colin Luckhurst is P8, Will Coffey is P9, Tyler Finley is P10. Justin F. Scott is P11. Craig Carroll, P12. Noah Hodgkinson's going to take P13. Eric Rodriguez goes to take P14. Zachary Bryant takes P15. Charles Whedon looks to have some damage on... looks to have a lot of damage on that car. But he put that thing straight through to P16. That is a very damaged Ferrari. Charles Whedon. Brandon Renfro going to take P17. Chris Lambeth, P18. Andrew Lewis is P19. Andrew Korostecki is P20. Nicholas Matcham, P21. Steve McAllister takes P22. Parker Humes takes P23. Gary Schilling is 24. And Chad Nobles, P25. And what a result for Chris Chitterling. I'm not even sure where he started. P7. And battled it out to take only 2 positions in the final bit of the race. In a fantastic result overall. I'm not going to call it too soon, but the AM class winner is Justin F. Scott, more than likely based on points going into the top 4 in the AM championship were just settled by nothing. And it looks like Matt Shack's going to take that win and put himself onto P1 in the championship as well. Celebrating a little bit. And thank you for joining us. We're going to take a couple weeks off for this next season coming up. But please join us back again. It's always going to be on Sundays at 9:10 Eastern Standard Time, as well as we have a couple other league races that we're running as well, the GTPs and the LMP3s, multi-class racing, as well as Super Formulas. They're also going to be involved. Stay tuned for those and join the Discord. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.